Hey, welcome back. I'm going to do that walk around with the Subaru today just to give you a little idea of what I've done with it. We're actually going to take a look at it in some off-roading conditions in a wildlife management area today and put some rubber to the road. Welcome back to another episode of Eric's Camping Adventures. We're going to go on another search today looking for some beautiful places. Well, you can probably tell the Subaru just looks a little bit different from last time you saw it in my videos. After hitting that deer in Nebraska, it did give me an extra undamaged bumper cover. So since I had an extra bumper cover that I could cut, I cut it and installed a body armor reinforced bumper with a winch mount. And that is a your Badland 5500 winch long drum, so I got a little bit extra rope, synthetic rope, and I installed, of course, some D-rings. I went with red. It just is traditional. I decided, after how much I saw the Subaru just bogged down and just sag in the back with loaded equipment, and it really wasn't, it didn't seem to me like it was that much equipment, but I did decide to put on a 2-inch lift with a subframe drop. That is not a puck, it is not a top hat lift, it is actually an Ironman 2-inch lift with a subframe drop. I decided to put on some Faulken Wildpeak, one size bigger. So they are 235 65 R17, and normally when they're not filled with mud, they'd have a good deep new tread on them. You might ask, did you lose a lot of power doing that? I'm just going to tell you, not in the lower gearing of the CVT when it begins. I have read that it has 4.11 differentials, and it is not noticeable in terms of power when going at a low speed. However, when I'm on the highway, if I push down to try to get going again, to maybe navigate traffic, there does seem to be just a little bit of power loss with that. So my Forester has 11 inches of clearance at the factory front skid plate, which is a mix of metal and plastic. The lowest point of the exhaust is 10.5 inches, and the rear differential in the back is actually at 12 inches. I took this image and I laid it out flat, measured 34 degrees of departure angle with a goniometer. Breakover angle is the relationship between your wheelbase and your lowest point, which for me, which is 10.5 inches. My wheelbase is 105.1 inches. So I just asked AI to calculate this for me, and it just put it up on the screen for me at 22.62 degrees. I laid this image out flat, and it was a 39 degrees of an approach angle. So this is a 2022 Subaru Wilderness Edition. So it already has a factory 2-inch lift. It has a 2.5-inch boxer motor. It does have the dual traction modes on it for different level of intensity. I left it in automatic this morning, and I'll just tell you, it did fine climbing that little hill. Kind of impressed with it. I really just didn't even have to give it gas to go up that. Just it's pretty awesome and very smooth. The last thing I want to show you is the articulation of the suspension in the rear. Can't show you the front, too concealed by other structures up front, but I can show you in the back. You can see good compression on the driver's side, extension on the passenger, then reversed. And there's actually quite a bit of travel in this four-wheel independent suspension. You can see the limit has been reached on the passenger side. Suspension travel is extremely important to keep your tires down on the ground so that you get traction and can move forward. And I think that the Subaru today showed its capability quite well. After seeing this video and the pictures, I'm giving Iron Man an A+. Here's the whole video that I harvested those freeze frames from. I am going to stop it one more time when we see the rear end articulate. I don't know if you caught that, but here it is in slow motion. I guess that's what those bushings are for. Well, this has been a great chance to explore this wildlife management area. There are some campsites here, access to fishing along the shore. Some good little trails. Not a lot of trails, but definitely enough to check out my Subaru. Well, that was some pretty easy work there in the wildlife management area. Not much of a challenge. I think maybe the question will be is how will it perform pulling maybe the overlanding trailer back into those types of an area. You know, that little bit of spin, that little bit of grade will probably be a little bit more work. But there are actually some nice campsites back in there. They're a little bit trashed up. You probably can see it. People don't really clean up after themselves when they come back in there, and that's kind of a shame. It actually is a pretty area. There's some potential for some good camping back in there.